Shalom and good morning from Canada House and from Jerusalem. We're about to celebrate the Feast of Shavuot, or Pentecost as it's called in the Septuagint, and then later on in the New Testament, where we get our word now, Pentecost, for 50. Something really unique about this holiday. I'd like to read a couple of verses from Leviticus 23, which is this list of all the appointed festivals of the Lord. If you can, listen. This is the festival of trumpets. Leviticus 23:24. Say to the Israelites, on the first day of the 7th month, you are to have a day of the Sabbath rest, a sacred assembly for trumpet blasts. This is now the festival of the Day of Atonement. The 10th day of this 7th month is the Day of Atonement. This is for the Feast of Tabernacles. Say to the Israelites, on the 15th day of the 7th month, the Lord's Festival of Tabernacles begins. Can you see a pattern? This day on this month. Now let's listen to the Festival of Shavuot, verse 15 of chapter 23. From the day after the Sabbath, the day you brought the sheaf offering, count off 7 full weeks. Count 50 days up to the day after the 7th Sabbath, and then present an offering of new grain to the Lord. Shavuot is unique amongst the festivals of the Lord in which it doesn't have a specific day. Not for its independence. It's not on this day of this month have this festival. Shavuot is connected to another previous festival, 50 days from Passover. The two festivals are linked. This is unique amongst all of the other festivals of the Lord. So what happened at Passover? Well, we know it's the great redemption story. It's God with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm reached down into a land of darkness, and he brought his people out. So the story of Passover is a story of redemption. And then there were 50 days of wandering that brought us to Mount Sinai and the giving of the Torah. So Shavuot is a celebration of the giving of the Torah, of God introducing himself to his people. The children of Israel didn't know anything about the Lord while they were in Egypt. They didn't have a Bible, they didn't have a prophet, there was no temple. So they had a very limited knowledge of who God was. And it's while God was unknown to them that they are redeemed. But then at Shavuot, God introduces himself. Yes, he gives his Torah, his teaching, his guidance and instruction. And yes, it is a series of commandments, absolutely. But it's also a revelation of who God is, of what he likes, what he doesn't like, of what he's done in the past, and what he's going to do in the future. And so we see this pattern, this connection, that redemption always leads to revelation. We read in the New Testament that while I was a sinner, Christ died for me. So when I didn't know Jesus, then he saves me. But then eventually I have my own redemption experience, which is unique to everyone, and also my own personal Mount Sinai experience. That is the way God reveals himself to me. But this festival, I'd like us to think about connections. What are we connected to? Shavuot is connected to Passover. Revelation is connected to redemption. At this festival, we read the scroll of the book of Ruth. And in this story, we see of a lady who's a part of an outcast tribe. She's a foreign, forbidden tribe. She's a Moabite. She's one of the enemy. And yet, she says in this scroll, I go where you go, your people are my people, your God is my God. She connects herself to the people of Israel, and she will always be connected that way, eventually to become the grandmother of King David, and then and part of the lineage of Messiah. So this Pentecost, as people gather to study the Word of God, and they will this Shavuot, they will spend most of the night reading, studying, learning. Hopefully they will discover their connections, what they're rooted to. Let's ask the same thing of ourselves. What are we connected to? Are we connected to a church that's growing, is vibrant, and wants to preach the word and study the word and make us better disciples of Yeshua? Are we connected to a community that understands its Jewish roots and how we're grafted in to the olive tree of Israel and the faith of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? What are we connected to? Or are we disconnected? Are we not part of a fellowship or a community? And then perhaps we should be. So brothers and sisters, friends, family, have a blessed Pentecost, have a blessed Shavuot. And as we read and as we study, perhaps even enjoy a cheesecake, then let's see where we're connected to, and may we be connected to the olive tree of Israel. Shalom from Jerusalem.